The Orioles signed Ryan Helsley this weekend to a 2-year, $28 million deal that includes an opt-out after the first season. There was some speculation that a team will try Helsley as a starter, but the Orioles do plan to use him as their closer. He had 21 saves with the Cardinals last season before getting traded over to the Mets, where he was truly awful. Chris, what are your expectations for Ryan Helsley in Baltimore?
He was tipping his pitches, I think is the explanation. When he got to the Mets, he solved it over the final few outings, if I remember correctly, and
7 scoreless innings.
Yeah, it seemed like there wasn't much concern about that moving forward. One, the idea that Ryan Helsley could transition to being a starter, crazy, absolutely insane. That struck me as like, I don't understand how anybody thought that could be a workable idea. I'm glad nobody's going to try it. I do expect the Orioles to be an 80-plus win team in 2026, potentially a 90-win team. And so I think Ryan Helsley will get a lot of save opportunities on a pretty good team. I think he's a good pitcher. Obviously now, after seeing what happened last season, you do have to account for some downside risk, but I think ranking Ryan Helsley in the top 12-ish range makes sense. I think Devin Williams is probably a better pitcher. So if you want to prioritize Devin Williams ahead of him, at least as far as we know right now, I think that makes sense. But like when you compare him to Jeff Hoffman or Trevor McGill's role in Milwaukee seems a little up in the air. Whoever ends up like closing for the Cubs or like, there are a lot of things up in the air right now. So I think Helsley's not going to be a top 12 reliever for me, but he's not going to be far off.
He's 13th for me in Roto, so he's right behind Devin Williams. I do think it's worth noting here that even though there is an explanation for him tipping his pitches and 7 scoreless innings to finish the year, I mean, that's not total proof. And I think if there were industry-wide zero concerns about Helsley's ability to bounce back from this rough year overall, and especially rough time with the Mets, if there were no concerns within the industry, he would have gotten more than a 2-year, $28 million deal. I mean, that seems like that seems like an offer that has a lot of worries attached to it, given Helsley's past as a closer, how good he was in the role in 2024. That said, I mean, I'd prefer him to Carlos Estevez, who had a big save total, but everything else looked pretty gross for him in 2025. I'd prefer him to Trevor McGill with his issues. I'd prefer him to Daniel Palencia, who had good underlying numbers, but doesn't have much of a track record. So there's a certain point where you can only worry so much when it comes to a role this volatile. And I feel pretty good about Helsley heading into next year.
What about Kenley Jansen? He's going to be a closer somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Kenley Jansen's getting out of bed to set up for someone, right?
I doubt it.
That's not going to happen.
I doubt it, unless he just sees the end. And he already has a ring, right? He was part of the first Dodgers World Series championship team. So he doesn't have to chase that ring.
That sounds like it could
but
be,
maybe
right?
he wants another one. I expect he's closing. I rank him as a closer. I rank him behind all of those guys because the ERA tends to run high and because he often has an IL stint that bumps his innings below 60. But he's a fine number 2 closer in my mind, Kenley Jansen.
Yeah. The early ADP, by the way, for Ryan Helsley, there have been 3 NFBC drafts since Saturday, so an incredibly small sample size, but Helsley's ADP was 74 in those 3 drafts, going right between Carlos Estevez and Robert Suarez. It does seem a little rich there for Helsley. Perhaps people just getting excited about him signing right away.